Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
When I read the story of the woman at the well, I often wonder if Jesus ever got any water. I mean, he just traveled something like 20 miles from Judea that morning. He was hot, tired, and thirsty. He asked for a drink, but it never said the Samaritan woman ever gave him any water. Instead, they ended up having a conversation in which he gives her living water. Just like with Nicodemus in the chapter before, Jesus confuses the woman at the beginning of their conversation with an absolutely incomprehensible statement. With Nicodemus, he says, "You must be born again." Here, he basically tells the woman, "You need living water." It's the same concept, but with a different analogy. Nicodemus, the important Pharisee and teacher of Israel, and the Samaritan woman, an adulterous outcast, both needed the same thing: salvation. In the case of the Samaritan woman, Jesus said in John 4:10, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is who says, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." She, like Nicodemus, had no clue what he was talking about. Neither of them thought past the physical. But we can figure it out. What's the gift of God? According to John 3:16, it's Jesus, who came to save us from our sin. The word gift implies free gift. Other religions say, "Do this, and God will give you this," or "Clean up your act, and God will accept you." But that's not what Christianity says. The gospel is God offering salvation through His grace, completely free. Of course, it cost Jesus His life, but He freely gives us His salvation, which the Samaritan woman needed desperately, as do we. The whole idea of living water made no sense to her, but it would have to the Jews, at least if they were thinking spiritually. Isaiah connected water with salvation by saying, "With joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation." God promised to give that kind of water in abundance. In Isaiah 44:3, He says, "I will pour water on him who is thirsty, and floods on the dry ground. I will pour my spirit on your descendants, and my blessing on your offspring." Zechariah said, "In that day a fountain shall be opened for the house of David, and for the inhabitants of Jerusalem, for sin and uncleanness." God promised, "In that day it shall be that living waters shall flow from Jerusalem." These promises were being fulfilled by Jesus, and He was offering this living water first to a Samaritan woman. Now this woman knew she needed water from the well. That's why she went there with her jug every day. Without it, she would die. She didn't know that she needed the water that Jesus spoke of. But what she would learn in this conversation is that the water from the well was temporary relief from physical thirst. Jesus' living water would satisfy her soul permanently, would bring her everlasting life. Without it, she was already dead and empty. Living water was a term that they used for fresh water that flowed, as opposed to stagnant, dirty water. She assumed Jesus meant the well water, which was spring-fed. But how would He get it? Jesus patiently and lovingly explained the concept of His living water. And by verse 15, even though she still probably didn't know what He was talking about, she knew she wanted it. So what was it? Endlessly flowing forgiveness, mercy, grace, regeneration, sanctification. Who wouldn't want all those things? Who really wants to be stagnant and dead inside when they could not only be washed clean, but have all that flowing inside of them? Is Jesus' living water flowing freely in your heart and flowing out into your life? It should be, if you've invited Jesus to come in your heart and control your life. Has your once abundant flow become a trickle, Maybe you need to pray as King David did, confessing his sin. He asked, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Restore to me the joy of my salvation." Jesus said, "Whoever drinks this water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life." I pray today the joy of your salvation would flow all over everyone you come in contact with today.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.